Sometimes fate finds you in the most unexpected places. The bustling streets of Seoul thrummed with life as Oh Mi-soo hurriedly made her way to the hospital where her father lay unconscious, a figure of her past now imprisoned in illness and heavy medical debts. As she navigated through the throngs of people, each heartbeat echoed her fear, not just of losing her father, but of drowning in financial despair. In stark contrast to her struggles, Park Jin-woo occupied the corner suite of a luxury office, a wealthy businessman shackled by an unusual affliction, an intense allergy to women. His pristine life was overshadowed by familial pressure, especially from his grandmother, who had made it her mission to find him a suitable wife, insisting that it was time for him to settle down. That night held the promise of change, unbeknownst to either of them. In a dimly lit alley, Mi-soo found herself cornered by aggressive debt collectors, her heart racing as she darted to escape their reach. It was there, in the shadows, that her world collided with Jin-woo's. He stood frozen, an observer in the chaos, and as she looked at him pleadingly, something extraordinary happened. He felt no negative reaction. For the first time, the weight on his chest lifted, and a sense of calm washed over him. "Are you okay?" he asked, the unexpected softness of his tone catching her off guard. Their brief connection birthed a shared moment of vulnerability, challenging their respective perceptions of the world around them. As days turned into weeks, their lives intertwined in ways neither could have foreseen. Mi-soo discovered she was pregnant and, after much internal struggle, decided to seek out Jin-woo. When she found him, she hesitantly admitted the truth. Taken aback, Jin-woo faced an internal battle. The urge to provide help clashed with his instinct to escape from women entirely. At first, he suggested money as a solution, but a spark of realization ignited within him. "What if you became my personal assistant?" he proposed, an idea brewing just beneath the surface. "You can pretend to be my fiancé to keep my grandmother off my back." In that moment, Mi-soo felt a complex mixture of disbelief and relief. Anything was better than solitude, and at least this arrangement would bring a steady income. As Mi-soo settled into her new role, a sense of empowerment emerged within her. She skillfully navigated board meetings, impressing not only Jin-woo but also his paranoid investors. It was during a presentation about a harmful merger with the unscrupulous Hansung Group that she shone brightest, her analytical mind preventing a disastrous deal. For Jin-woo, witnessing Mi-soo's brilliance was a revelation. He found himself increasingly drawn to her tenacity and spirit, both refreshing and grounding. Meanwhile, Jin-woo's grandmother, who had initially questioned Mi-soo's place in her grandson's life, soon looked upon her with warmth and gratitude. She treated Mi-soo like family, which only deepened her connection to Jin-woo. "You should consider taking some shares in the company," the grandmother suggested one day, her voice threading with sincerity. "You deserve a part of this legacy." Mi-soo was taken aback. The unexpected affection from someone so important meant more to her than any stock could. Yet, trepidation lingered at the edges of their burgeoning bond, as Jin-woo explored his feelings amidst the complications of pregnant expectations and shifting loyalties. But just when they found a comfortable rhythm, the return of Kim Seo-yeon, Jin-woo's former love, brought chaos back into their lives. Seo-yeon's charm and familiarity chipped away at the intimacy Mi-soo had cultivated with Jin-woo. Every laugh shared seemed to echo the memories of their love, casting shadows of doubt over Mi-soo's heart. The strain caused fissures in their relationship, one chaotic evening culminating in a heated argument where words flared like firecrackers. "You're just pretending," Mi-soo accused, frustration bubbling as Jin-woo struggled to defend his evolving feelings for her. "I never thought you'd fit into my life," he fired back, them both shaken by the truth hiding behind their outbursts. The stakes escalated when turmoil struck once more. Mi-soo was kidnapped, a ploy by the Hansung Group to frighten Jin-woo into submission. Panic surged through him as he scrambled for answers, moments stretching into eternity until he finally found her. With a breathless urgency, he fought against the odds, his heart pounding as he faced his greatest fears. In the chaos, Jin-woo was injured, yet pain overshadowed by a singular driving force. to protect Mi-soo. The harrowing rescue brought them both to the brink, but as they lay together after the ordeal, a moment of stillness enveloped them. As days blurred into a hazy recollection in the hospital, Mi-soo awoke to Jin-woo's tear-streaked face, his vulnerability etched into every line. "I didn't want to say goodbye without telling you. I love you, Mi-soo." His voice trembled, raw and unguarded. At that moment, all their heartbreaks faded into the background of growing affection. His kiss was tender, and Mi-soo responded with the gratitude of a soul that had found its counterpart. In time, Jin-woo's proposal blossomed like spring after a long winter, the promise laced with sincerity. "Let's build a family together," he whispered, and everything painful felt worth it, birthing a new reality, one filled with hope instead of fear. The wedding arrived with laughter, warmth and joy, their daughter arriving soon after as a vibrant reflection of their journey together. Jin-woo transformed, no longer the guarded man he once was. As he held their child and Mi-soo's hand tightly in his, he realized that love had blossomed through adversity, redefining his understanding of family. They stepped into a future shimmering with uncertainty but grounded in love, ready to navigate whatever shall come next together. Life can change in a heartbeat, often when you least expect it. Oh, Mi-soo felt the weight of those words pressing against her as she stood before the stark walls of the hospital, her father's condition hanging like a dark cloud over her future. With her dreams of graduation slipping through her fingers, she was faced with a harder reality. She was pregnant, the child an unexpected consequence of a fleeting encounter with Park Jin-woo, a wealthy businessman who seemed to live in an entirely different world. The shock of the news churned her stomach, igniting a whirlwind of emotions that left her feeling more vulnerable than ever. Weeks later, as Mi-soo sipped a cup of lukewarm coffee in a bustling cafe, she did everything to avoid the familiar corners of despair looming around her. The warmth of the cafe was a brief solace when she unexpectedly spotted Jin-woo across the room. Their eyes met, and a momentary jolt of recognition passed between them. It was an ironic twist of fate. Jin-woo approached her, a tense smile plastered on his face. "I can help you," he said, his voice steady but devoid of warmth, as if the walls of his privileged existence were closing in. He slid a few bills across the table, suggesting money as an option to simply walk away from each other's lives. Mi-soo's heart raced, a desperate mixture of hurt and frustration boiling in her chest. "Is that all I am to you? Just a transaction?" she replied, her voice trembling with indignation. She could not deny the weight of his offer, nor could she ignore her independence. She wouldn't be bought. Yet when Jin-woo proposed a more thought-out arrangement, a job as his personal assistant while pretending to be his fiancée to placate his controlling grandmother, Mi-soo found herself contemplating the unthinkable. Sure, it was a convoluted plan, but it also offered her a way to achieve financial stability for herself and her unborn child. With anxiety settling into her gut, she took a deep breath and reluctantly agreed, resisting the part of her that screamed to reject his world of privilege once and for all. Just for a little while, she assured herself, though beneath her bravado, uncertainty gnawed at her. As days turned into weeks, the charade became a surprisingly intricate dance as Mi-soo settled into Jin-woo's life. In the corporate world, she dazzled everyone with her brilliance. Board meetings turned into opportunities for her to express clever ideas that caught Jin-woo's admirers by surprise. Their professional dynamic fueled a growing tension as they spent long hours together, exchanging banter that danced dangerously close to affection. Mi-soo often caught Jin-woo watching her with something akin to admiration, which ignited a flicker of hope amidst her swirling doubts. In those moments, reality faded, revealing an unexpected connection that began to bloom. However, their carefully constructed world was turned upside down when Jin-woo's grandmother took a keen interest in Mi-soo. Initially, she had been skeptical of the young woman who had barged into her grandson's life uninvited. Still, it wasn't long before the grandmother began to see Mi-soo's genuine charm and intellect, welcoming her into the family fold with open arms. In secret, she began discussing the possibility of sharing her wealth, endeavoring to reinforce Mi-Su's place in Jin-Woo's life. This newfound affection threatened to blur the lines of their arrangement. As Mi-Su realized, Jin-Woo's grandmother had come to see her as something more than just a facade. Yet this budding bond felt precarious, especially as Jin-Woo's ex-girlfriend Kim Seo-yeon came back into the picture. Seo-yeon oozed confidence and familiarity, embodying everything Mi-Su felt she lacked. Emotional flames flickered as jealousy surfed through Mi-Su, pushing her to question her worthiness in Jin-Woo's life. Late-night confrontations and simmering tensions erupted into chaos when she caught Jin-Woo exchanging tender words with Seo-yeon, hanging like a noose around Mi-Su's heart. "You don't even want me here." "You miss your old life," she shouted, tears pricking at her eyes, her vulnerability exposed. At that moment, Jin-Woo's silence spoke volumes, leaving her feeling abandoned and exposed. But just when everything appeared to unravel, a twist of fate struck once again. Not the kind of surprise anyone would welcome. During a night out, Mi-Su was caught up in a car accident, leading her into the painful aftermath of waking up in a hospital. Jin-Woo's eyes widened with raw panic when he found her unconscious, and suddenly the facade of emotions he'd carefully constructed shattered. "Stay with me, Mi-Su. I can't do this without you," he whispered. The weight of his heart laid bare as he realized just how profoundly he cared. As time passed and recovery began, the promise of change lingered in the air. Mi-Su's recovery was slow, but each morning brought them closer to confronting the tangled web of their feelings. When she finally awoke, Jin-Woo remained at her side, a blazing hope in his eyes. "I thought I'd lost you. I need you in my life," he confessed, his voice trembling, catching Mi-Su off guard. The moment suspended time, as the true depth of their relationship was laid bare, fraught with vulnerability, yet filled with undeniable connection. With the decision made to reclaim their futures together, they stepped forward towards a different kind of harmony. Jin-Woo proposed they work together not just as colleagues, but as partners in everything they were destined to create. With the weight of their past and the uncertainty of their tomorrow, the bond they forged against all odds became a testament to resilience. Life, now more unpredictable than ever, sparkled with a thrilling possibility. Together, they began to unearth what it truly meant to embrace love, navigating the complexities that lay ahead, emboldened by the knowledge that sometimes the heart knows the way, even through the darkest of nights. Sometimes, the right path is the one we never intended to take. Mi-Su leaned back in her chair on the first day as Park Jin-Woo's assistant, a mix of anxiety and resolve swirling within her. The glitzy corporate office buzzed around her, a stark contrast to her previous life as a struggling university student. She had traded textbooks and late-night studying for briefcases and business meetings, and it filled her with nervous energy. For Jin-Woo, a man who had once seen her as an escape from familial pressures, this arrangement was convenient. Yet Mi-Su felt an undeniable urgency to prove herself beyond a social facade. As she immersed herself in the job, an unexpected depth to her role started to unfold. Mi-Su's ability to analyze market trends and her intuition for organizational dynamics quickly garnered the attention of the board. During a tense meeting about a proposed merger with the notorious Hansung Group, she sensed that the deal would jeopardize the company's ethical standing. "We can't overlook the potential backlash, especially with their history," she spoke up, her heart racing. The room fell silent, and Jin-Woo's brows furrowed as he met her eyes, surprised by her boldness. "You're right," he finally said, nodding, the respect growing in his gaze. It was more than a simple acknowledgement. It validated her presence there, and for the first time, Mi-Su felt truly seen. As the days turned into weeks, their professional rapport deepened into a compelling bond. Moments of collaboration gave way to shared laughter and unguarded conversations. They experienced the ebb and flow of tension, especially during moments of doubt when Jin-Woo's penchant for solitude surfaced. "Sometimes I feel trapped in this world like I'm just a puppet for my family's expectations," he confessed, his voice laced with vulnerability one late night under the dim office lights. It was a side of Jin-Woo that Mi-Su had not anticipated, drawing them closer as they shared tales of their respective struggles against societal norms. Each exchange chipped away at the walls they had built around their hearts. But just as the connection grew, so did the stakes. One late afternoon, Mi-Su overheard whispers of dissent from the board about her role, speculating that she had manipulated Jin-Woo to situate herself closer to power. The accusations echoed painfully in her ears, igniting her insecurity. "Am I just playing a part in a game I don't understand?" she wondered, panic layering her chest as she feared losing the ground she had claimed. When she confronted Jin-Woo, raw emotion spilled forth. "You're not just my assistant," he insisted, his hands gripping her shoulders firmly, searching her eyes for understanding. "You're making this company better. You've changed everything for me." In that moment, validation began to eclipse the shadows of doubt, even if the voices outside still lingered. The intensity of their partnership came to a head when the Hansung Group attempted to sabotage their progress, subtly weaving misinformation into their negotiations. It unfolded as a breach of trust that threatened to shatter the fragile alliances they had built. As Jin-Woo delved deeper into the corporate webs, it became increasingly apparent that he needed Mi-Su as much as she needed him. "I can't navigate this without you," he admitted, palpable fear radiating in his voice during a late-night strategy session, the tension thick between them. "We're in this together. We need to outsmart them." The realization struck Mi-Su like lightning. They weren't merely colleagues anymore. They were allies entwined in a battle for their future. As their bond forged under pressure, they unveiled the truth behind Hansung's manipulations with a tactic both daring and unexpected. Together, they crafted a plan that not only protected their company, but outed Hansung's unethical dealings publicly. The victory was bittersweet as the air crackled with charged emotions. They were not just boss and assistant, but partners in every sense of the word. In the throes of the final meeting, where the stakes felt sky-high, Jin-Woo turned to Mi-Su, admiration flooding his expression. "I couldn't have done this without you," he stated simply. But the weight of his words resonated. It was a turning point, a bridge from mentorship to something more deeply rooted. As they stood together, the thrill of victory mingled with a realization that they had breached an unspoken barrier between their hearts. The world around them faded, and in that charged moment, Jin-Woo reached for her hand, his thumb brushing against her knuckles tenderly. Echoes of their laughter and late-night conversations framed their connection, steering them into unknown territory. "Mi-Su, he began, just as the doors to the boardroom swung open. The moment shattered into a rush of duty and uncertainty, yet there was an unmistakable promise lingering unspoken in the room. In the days that followed, their paths kept circling toward each other. Mi-Su was no longer just playing a role, but living a reality forged in resilience and growing affection. Jin-Woo began to see her as a cornerstone in both his professional and personal life, redefining their relationship as something neither had anticipated. The journey ahead held uncertainties, but the trust they built in that fragile, challenging environment ignited a spark of hope in their hearts. As they walked side by side through the bustling streets of Seoul, they knew the true challenge lay ahead, not simply in the business world, but in unraveling the deep connection that had blossomed between them. Sometimes, the ties we forge are stronger than the ones we're born into. The grand dining room of Jin-Woo's family estate was filled with the clinking of china and soft chatter, a world emblazoned with tradition that felt foreign yet inviting to Mi-Su. Nestled among Jin-Woo's family, she felt a warmth that contrasted starkly with the corporate coldness she had encountered. Over the weeks, her role as Jin-Woo's assistant had morphed into something she hadn't expected, a budding sense of belonging not just with him, but with his family, particularly his grandmother, who watched her with an approving gaze. During those family gatherings, the elderly matriarch would draw Mi-Su into conversations that ranged from childhood stories to business advice, celebrating her spirited nature that brought light to the intricate web of corporate politics intertwining their lives. "You are a breath of fresh air, my dear," the grandmother insisted, her laughter brightening the atmosphere, embedding Mi-Su more profoundly in the family's fabric. Each moment spent together chipped away at Mi-Su's insecurities, encouraging her to fully embrace her role. The prospect of being a true part of this world surged her heart with hope, but shadows of doubt loomed as she pondered the truth she was concealing. Could she maintain this facade without it collapsing under scrutiny? Internal conflicts burgeoned as Mi-Su's relationship with Jin-Woo deepened. An unspoken chemistry developed between them, stolen glances turned into shared laughs, and conversations became tinged with flirtation. Yet, moments of quiet reflection found her grappling with reality. What if they discover the truth? She often whispered to herself late at night, the prospect sending shivers of anxiety through her. She was not just playing a part in a harmless charade, she was risking her heart. Every family gathering reinforced her fears, especially when Jin-Woo's grandmother began discussing the future. "I see you as a suitable partner for my Jin-Woo," she confided in Mi-Su one afternoon while they prepared a meal together, the warmth of the stove wrapping around them both. Mi-Su's heart raced, the weight of that implication hanging heavily in the air. Their dynamic shifted unexpectedly during a particularly tense family gathering. Jin-Woo's parents were present, and as the discussions veered into serious territory regarding succession and responsibilities within the family business, an uncomfortable tension brewed. Jin-Woo's father's stern demeanor was all too familiar, reflecting his disdain for anything that appeared weak or unconventional. Without warning, he directed his gaze toward Jin-Woo. "This company needs direction, not distractions. Are you truly ready to settle down?" The question carved through the air like a knife. Mi-Su watched as Jin-Woo's face hardened, the conflict between his father's expectations and his own desires on full display. He stole a glance at her, and for a fleeting moment, the world around them faded, replaced by an understanding that ran deeper than friendship. Later that evening, when the family had dispersed, Jin-Woo found Mi-Su on the balcony, staring out at the twinkling city lights beneath them. "I'm tired of pretending," he confessed, walking closer until their shoulders brushed, igniting a warmth that pulsed between them. "You've become more than just an assistant or a way to appease my grandmother. You mean something to me." His honesty struck her like lightning, igniting the burgeoning feelings she had tried to downplay. Yet fear tugged at her, fear of the world they inhabited, the expectations weighing down upon them both. "What if we fail? What if this is all just a charade?" she whispered, her heart pounding. At that moment, the distance between them closed, and Jin-Woo grasped her hands gently. "Then we will face it together. This isn't just a game for me anymore." The sincerity in his voice pushed her fears aside, illuminating the uncharted waters of their relationship. But just as she began to embrace the possibility of something real, the specter of her deception lingered, a constant reminder that everything could come crashing down. As days turned into weeks, the question of their charade became increasingly pressing. Jin-Woo's grandmother's expectations weighed heavily on Mi-Su, especially when news of her wish to transfer her shares to Mi-Su reached the troubled waters of her conscience. "You can't change your heart's loyalty, can you?" she pondered, eyes staring out the window one rainy afternoon, uncertainty curling tightly in her chest. The genuine affection she felt for Jin-Woo and his family intertwined with the suffocating fear of exposure. Would she betray the trust they had built together? The tension reached a boiling point during a sudden family meeting summoned by Jin-Woo's father. Unbeknownst to them, the gathering would be less about business and more about personal expectations. As Jin-Woo's father began outlining future plans, a sinking realization washed over Mi-Su. She had to confront the truth. Moments before Jin-Woo was about to elaborate on their future, Mi-Su interjected, her heart racing. "With your permission, I need to say something." All eyes turned to her, and the room fell into a pregnant silence. "I've loved every moment spent here, but I cannot pretend any longer. I am not who you think I am." Gasps filled the room as she revealed her circumstances, exposing the intricate web of half-truths she had been spinning. The world momentarily blurred around her as reality crashed in, uncertainty suffocating her resolve. Yet instead of anger, Jin-Woo stood beside her, support emanating from him like a shield. "Mi-Su is not a distraction, but a partner I've grown to cherish," he declared firmly, each word melding with a profound sincerity that echoed through the backdrop of familial expectations. As the dust settled in the wake of that moment, the family's resistance began to soften, particularly his grandmother, who stepped forward with a knowing smile. "It's the heart that matters most, dear, not the labels." The journey of acceptance unfolded with tentative steps, their connection growing through shared trials and profound revelations. Though the road ahead remained uncertain, hope glistened like the first rays of dawn on the horizon, each moment promising a future unbound by secrets but rich with authenticity and growth. In the end, it wasn't just about facing the truth. It was about embracing love in all its forms, unconditional, resilient, and above all, real. As Jinwoo took her hand, their fingers interlacing, they both understood that life, with its unpredictability, was perhaps the most beautiful journey of all. Love can blossom in the most unexpected circumstances. Oh Mi-soo marveled at how life had twisted into an unexpected, albeit beautiful arrangement with Park Jin-woo. The complexities of their relationship had transcended the mere confines of a business contract, blossoming amidst moments of laughter, shared secrets, and the gentle anticipation of parenthood. Their connection deepened as they navigated the intricacies of preparing for a child, merging two worlds, the corporate and the personal. Jin-woo surprised Mi-soo with his enthusiasm for attending prenatal classes, a gentle encouragement that showcased his commitment not just to her, but to the life they were about to welcome. Seated on mismatched chairs in the brightly lit classroom, Jin-woo absorbed every detail presented about fatherhood. He was a stark contrast to the poised businessman he usually portrayed. The gentle demeanor he exhibited while listening intently melted away the walls he had built around himself. "Did you know babies can feel their parents' emotions even before they're born?" He quizzed Mi-soo later, his eyes glittering with genuine curiosity. The revelation sent warmth washing over her. Here was a man who, despite his previously aloof nature, was willing to delve into the realm of vulnerability. The laughter that rippled through their shared moments transformed a bond forged out of necessity into a rewarding companionship. From spontaneous trips to the grocery store to deliberately selecting baby names over coffee, Jinwoo began to see Mi-soo for herself, not just as a role in his life, but a person worthy of admiration. As they shared intimate stories, their conversations gradually evolved into a sanctuary. They explored each other's fears, dreams, and hopes for their child's future. It was comforting, but Mi-soo also felt the tightrope they walked ominously sway whenever she thought about their charade. Could it endure through the quiet whispers of their fabricated lives? One autumn afternoon, as crunchy leaves painted the paths of a nearby park, an unforeseen challenge loomed on the horizon. Jinwoo's ex-girlfriend, Kim Seo-yeon, returned to town without warning, shaking the foundations of his new existence. Her arrival was marked by a flurry of social media posts and rumors, casting shadows over their carefully crafted cocoon. Mi-soo's heart twisted at the thought of Seo-yeon's charm, the way Jin-woo had once looked at her with admiration rather than indifference. Would she pull him back into the orbit of a life they had both moved on from? That evening, she caught a glimpse of Jin-woo's tension during dinner. A subdued silence hung in the air, broken only by the distant laughter of people enjoying the early evening. "I heard Seo-yeon is back," she said cautiously, eyes searching his. His expression, a mixture of discomfort and nostalgia, tightened the anxiety within her. It's complicated," he offered, noticeably hesitant. Facing the weight of unspoken words, Mi-soo fought her urge to pry. Flashes of insecurity flooded her mind, filling her with doubts about her worth and the future they hoped to build together. As the week rolled on, the tension mounted. Jin-woo received an invitation to an industry gala where Seo-yeon would undoubtedly be present, a social event that he had previously planned to attend only for business. Mi-soo felt ice settle in her stomach as he prepared for the evening, dressing sharply but absent-mindedly, the decision weighing heavily on her heart. "You know you don't have to go," she stated softly, breaking the quiet as he adjusted his tie several times. "We could—" Jin-woo turned to her, an intense look crossing his face. "I have to face her. I won't let her dictate what I do with my life anymore." The fire in his voice held promise. yet it darkened the air between them as it brushed against their delicate balance. "You don't need to confront the past if you're happy with the present," Misu murmured, unsure if she was reasoning with him or herself. The caution in her words bore the weight of their unsteady status, allowing a dangerous rift to form. Misu spent the night thinking of her own insecurities. Would Jinwoo return transformed, nostalgic for the past? The gala loomed large in her mind, a specter that tightened her throat with dread. She knew that she might lose everything that had blossomed between them, with his gaze drawn back to an old flame. Her mind spun with visions of him laughing and smiling, the way he once did with Seo-yeon, leaving her feeling like a mere shadow in their history. The next evening, as Jinwoo stepped through the door after the gala, his demeanor seemed transformed. She studied him closely as he sat down beside her, taking a moment before speaking. "I ran into Seo-yeon. She has moved on. We talked, and I realized I can't go back," he said, his voice steadier than it had been earlier. "I told her about you, about everything. It felt good to finally let go." Relief washed over Misu, but uncertainty still gripped her. The truth of their arrangement still lay there, unspoken. With vulnerability hanging heavily in the air, Jinwoo continued, "You have changed my life in ways I didn't think were possible. I admire you, not just for who you are to me, but for who you are to this child." The sincerity in his voice wrapped Misu in warmth, easing the doubts that had crept into her heart. "I can't imagine facing the future without you. Can we drop the act?" Tears brimmed in Misu's eyes as she clasped his hand tightly. "You mean it?" she asked, heart racing with the realization that their connection transcended the charade they'd constructed. Jinwoo nodded emphatically, and for the first time, they faced the road ahead without the uncertainties that had previously plagued their hearts. Realizing that love had taken root in the most unexpected of places, both felt a wave of relief wash over them. With newfound courage, they stepped into uncertainty together, ready to embrace the challenges of parenthood and the unknown territory of their evolving relationship. The past, though still a shadow, had become lighter, revealing a shared journey blossoming with promise as they moved forward, hand in hand into the bright future that awaited them. Old flames can reignite in the most unexpected moments. Oh, Misu's heart raced as she stumbled across a post online about Kim Seo-yeon's return to town, Jinwoo's ex-girlfriend. The news felt like a cold splash of water, jolting her heart into a tempest of insecurity and doubt. Just when their relationship began to flourish, dark clouds gathered, threatening to overshadow their happiness. The once comforting atmosphere in Jinwoo's apartment now felt charged with an invisible tension, the remnants of a past that was too close for comfort. As days passed, Misu found herself caught in the crossfire of emotions. Jinwoo's demeanor had subtly shifted since Seo-yeon's arrival. He became more withdrawn, often lost in his thoughts, leaving Misu to wonder whether he was reminiscing about the girl who once held his heart. "I'm just busy with work," he would say when she inquired, a vague response that ignited her frustration. The flickers of jealousy molded into sharp waves of uncertainty as she noticed Jinwoo's phone buzz with messages from an unknown number late into the night. Each vibration felt like a torment of its own, amplifying her fear that Seo-yeon was trying to reclaim what had been lost. A palpable tension developed during a dinner with Jinwoo's family, where the atmosphere turned suffocating. Seo-yeon had made a surprise appearance, her radiant smile drawing attention like a moth to a flame. Misu's stomach twisted as she sat across the table from her, the cheerful chatter ricocheting around her, drowning her in anxiety. Jinwoo's polite responses to Seo-yeon's playful comments felt like daggers to Misu's heart. She forced a smile, desperately trying to maintain her composure. Feeling like an outsider, she couldn't shake off the feeling that everyone in the room was silently judging her. After the dinner, the confrontation they both dreaded finally erupted. Misu stood in the dimly lit hallway of their apartment, arms crossed, heart pounding. "Are you still thinking about her?" she blurted, the words spilling out before she could catch them. Jinwoo's eyes widened, hesitation swimming in his expression. "It's not like that. Seo Yan and I, he started, but Mi-Su cut him off. You still want her back, don't you? You're just waiting for the right moment. The hurt in her voice was palpable, suffused with an urgency that reflected her insecurities, igniting sparks of anger between them. Stop it, Mi-Su! You need to trust me! His voice was heated, reflecting his frustration. It was a moment of pure vulnerability for both of them, their emotions laid bare. He took a step closer, searching her eyes. I'm with you now. Seo Yan is part of my past, and I'm trying to focus on my future. The sincerity of his words tugged at her heart, but jealousy clouded her reason. Yet amidst the chaos of their argument, a revelation washed over Jinwoo. He realized he could no longer afford to waver between his past and present. With Seo Yan's unexpected re-entry, he was forced to confront feelings he had deliberately left unexamined. The emotional tug-of-war left him feeling cornered, and the choices he was forced to make made him question everything. I need to figure this out, he finally said, his voice steady with resolve. For you, for me, for the baby. Days melted into uncomfortable silence, the distance between them echoing louder than words. Mi-Su felt adrift, grappling with the heaviness in her chest. Would their carefully constructed bond withstand the challenges posed by nostalgia and unresolved emotions? Despite her desperation, her inner strength began to surface, gaining momentum. She was determined not to let insecurity rule her life or push her away from the love she had built with Jinwoo. In the following weeks, a surprising twist shifted the narrative. Seo Yan, upon noticing the undeniable bond between Jinwoo and Mi-Su during her follow-ups, took a step back. At an industry event, she approached Mi-Su, and with an uncharacteristically sincere expression she confessed, I don't want to come between you two. Jinwoo deserves to be happy. Her candid words caught Mi-Su off guard, and a flicker of hope ignited amidst the chaos. Are you really letting go? Mi-Su asked, her voice trembling. The air was heavy with unspoken fears, yet something shifted between them. As they spoke, old grudges dissipated, revealing shared experiences that transcended rivalry. Seo Yan's unexpected kindness marked a turning point, allowing Mi-Su to breathe a little easier. Trust began to flow back into her heart, enabling her to confront Jinwoo with newfound confidence. Later that evening, when the two of them found themselves in the kitchen, a simple gesture spoke volumes. Jinwoo handed Mi-Su a bowl of fresh fruit, a small but significant act of love. You were right. I need to choose, he said softly, the tension in his voice replaced with clarity. I'm choosing you. I don't want to create a future weighed down by my past. Warmth spread through Mi-Su as his words sank in, easing the remaining uncertainties. They stood close, the air humming with possibility. Let's face this together, she replied, her heart swelling with renewed hope. With Seo Yan's acceptance now anchoring them, they moved forward, allowing the storm to clear from their hearts. Though there would still be challenges, the foundation of their relationship had solidified, bolstered by grace and resilience. As they embraced, the shadows of jealousy and insecurity began to lift, revealing a path illuminated by love and understanding. This moment was the beginning of a journey strengthened by their bond, not just forged in shared lives, but in the revelation that true partnership meant choosing one another, past and all, day after day. When darkness falls, the light you never knew existed shines the brightest. The night of the annual corporate gala was supposed to be a celebration of success, but as Jinwoo watched Mi-Su mingle with colleagues, he sensed an impending storm brewing in the atmosphere. The opulent ballroom glittered under the chandeliers, showcasing the achievements they had both worked tirelessly for, yet the happiness felt fragile. Mi-Su's laughter rang through the air, a sweet melody that illuminated his heart. She had inadvertently become a beacon in his life, yet he remained haunted by the fierce competition that lay outside the gilded walls. As the evening unfolded, an air of tension crackled beneath the glamour. Jinwoo's company had been embroiled in a fierce rivalry with the notorious Hansung group, tensions simmering just below the surface. Mi-Su, with her intuitive nature, caught glimpses of the unease, but chose to focus on the moment, laughing and celebrating with Jin-woo, blissfully unaware of the danger lurking nearby. It was supposed to be their night, a reaffirmation of their burgeoning relationship, until reality crashed in without warning. Suddenly, amid the rhythmic beats of the music, chaos erupted. Gunshots rang out, shattering the joyful atmosphere, and panic ensued. Jin-woo's heart raced as people screamed, rushing for exits. In the chaotic stampede, Misu was snatched away by masked figures, their faces obscured as they dragged her toward the door. "Misu!" Jin-woo shouted, adrenaline surging through him, an instinctual fear taking control. Desperation gripped his heart, knowing he had to save her. Outside, the night air churned with dread-filled shadows as he pursued the kidnappers, every second stretching like an eternity. His mind rattled with possibilities, their intention to send a message, to strike fear into him because of the unfurling conflict between the companies. Battling against rising panic, he sprinted through the dark alleyways, every step fueled by tormenting visions of losing Misu forever. Jin-woo's heart dropped as he reached a dimly lit warehouse hidden away from prying eyes. The ominous silence drove the fear deeper into his bones. "This has to end now," he muttered to himself, clenching his fists. With determination sparking in his heart, he dashed inside, eyes scanning the area for any sign of her. Just as he spotted a flicker of movement in the shadows, a loud crash echoed, and he felt the ground shake beneath him. The chaos reached a fever pitch. In the melee of rescue, as Jin-woo confronted the kidnappers, a sudden explosion rocked the warehouse, sending debris flying toward them. Chaos consumed the air, the once lucid, fleeting moments turning into a whirlwind of confusion. He lunged toward Misu, a wild instinct driving him forward, but a piece of heavy machinery tumbled from above, blocking his route. With a desperate cry, he dove for her, arms outstretched, longing to shield her from danger. Time slowed as the world tipped into oblivion. The crash reverberated through Jin-woo's mind, darkness closing in, and the next thing he knew, he awoke in the hospital, sterile white walls closing around him. Panic gripped his chest. The love of his life was fighting for her breath, lying unconscious in a bed across the room. The guilt struck him hard, a relentless wave of regret. Why hadn't he seen the signs? Why hadn't he protected her? As days bled into an agonizing blur, Misu lay in a coma, delicate and vulnerable, tethered to life by the machines surrounding her. Jin-woo's heart ached with every breath she failed to take. The weight of his fear crashed against him, threatening to steal every ounce of hope. Alone in the dim light of the hospital room, he gripped her hand tightly, pouring his anguish into every touch. "I'm so sorry, Misu. I won't let this define us," he whispered, tears swelling in his eyes. Each moment together became a poignant blend of memories, the joy, the love, the laughter, all colliding with the impending agony of loss. Rescue efforts shifted to recovery. Words spoken in moments of sorrow nourished promises of a future. Jin-woo's love for her sharpened, crystallizing into a resolve. "You have to fight for us, for the future we dreamed of," he urged, willing her to hear him even in the depths of her unconscious state. The journey was a tumultuous roller coaster, filled with emotional turbulence as he navigated the uncertainty and trepidation of what lay ahead. Lightning flashed outside the hospital, mirroring the turmoil within him. And yet, within that storm, a flicker of hope ignited. Finally, one fateful morning, a faint squeeze against his hand rekindled his spirit. Mirrored in her expression was a determination he recognized, the resilience that defined her. "Misu, can you hear me?" he asked breathlessly, hope cascading through his veins. Her eyelids fluttered, revealing those deep, warm eyes that ignited a fire in his heart. "You've come back," he choked out, overcome with emotion. As she struggled to speak, every labored breath became a victory, rebirthing a connection stronger than fear, a promise to face whatever lay ahead together. In the days following her awakening, their journey of healing began, not just physically but emotionally. Conversations returned, filled with laughter and shared dreams once more. As they embraced the future, They also faced the remnants of their frightening ordeal, a reminder of the dark shadows they had conquered together. Jinwoo and Mi-soo stood hand in hand, united in a new dawn, determined to weather the storms life threw their way. His love for her deepened, fortified by the harrowing experience they had survived. This journey would not be easy, but as they moved forward, they carried within them the knowledge that true strength lies not only in surviving, but also in the unwavering commitment to nurture love through every trial. Together, they set their sights on the horizon, ready to face whatever came next. In the silent spaces between words lies the deepest of emotions. Jinwoo could hardly remember a time when silence weighed so heavily. Each day he found himself perched on the edge of Mi-soo's hospital bed, examining the stillness surrounding her, his heart a tumultuous storm of fear and longing. The sterile scent of antiseptic cut through the air, mingling with the hushed whispers of nurses diligently tending to machines that monitored her fragile state. The vibrant life that once danced in her eyes now lay dormant, leaving Jinwoo grappling with the ache of what he stood to lose. In those long hours spent watching her, he confronted the choices that had led them here. Choices riddled with opportunity and uncertainty. Days stretched into an exhausting routine, punctuated by moments of hope when he would whisper her name, willing her to respond. It was in this profound stillness that he began to understand the depths of his own feelings, long buried beneath his previous distractions and barriers. The realization that Mi-soo had become his anchor opened a floodgate of emotions he had never dared to explore. With a notebook in hand and a pen hovering over the blank pages, Jinwoo found solace in writing letters to Mi-soo, capturing every thought and feeling that surged through him in her absence. "My beloved Mi-soo," he began each time, pouring his heart onto the page, embracing vulnerability he had suppressed for so long. Each letter became a confession, revealing dreams they shared, the laughter of their child, and the life they yearned to build together. "I promise that if you come back to me, I will cherish every moment." The ink soaked up his fears, turning them into words, as if speaking them aloud could bridge the gap between their worlds. But vulnerability came with its own anxieties. Days passed, and though he filled the notebook with his hopes, the shadows of doubt wrestled with him. What if his love was not enough? What if the life they dreamed of would remain forever just that, an unfulfilled wish? Yet he pressed on, compelled by the realization that his feelings for her were as real as the pain of her absence. With each penned confession, he felt lighter, as though the act of sharing his heart might somehow reach her in her slumber. As he continued this routine, the outside world faded. Moments of tenderness rolled back the walls he had built, making him recall the first time he truly recognized Mi-soo's strength. The way she fought for her values in the boardroom, her eloquence inspiring those around her. Her laughter had been contagious, igniting life within the most mundane days. Now, trapped in this silence, he longed for her to reclaim that spirit, to dance back into his life with the same fervor that once stole his breath away. And then, one fateful afternoon changed everything. While Jinwoo dictated another letter, a sharp sound cut through the quiet, a faint yet unmistakable murmur of her name. Heart racing, he turned to find Mi-soo's eyelids fluttering, the faintest hint of life stirring beneath their stillness. He held his breath, every beating pulse echoing in his ears. "Mi-soo." His voice trembled as he reached for her hand, waiting for a sign that she could hear him. She stirred once more. The sound of her soft breath against the cotton sheets felt like a beacon of hope, piercing through the suffocating air. The machines that relentlessly monitored her pulse now became a backdrop to the most pivotal moment of his life. "I'm here, sweetheart." "Just breathe." His voice was steady, filled with an urgency to keep her anchored amidst the chaotic tide of emotions. The moment stretched, teetering on the edge of reality. A flicker of recognition emerged in her eyes, and for a brief instant, it felt as though the darkness receded. "Jinwoo." Her voice emerged as a fragile whisper, but the clarity of it struck his heart deeply, reigniting a determination within him. Tears streaked down his cheeks, a mixture of relief and gratitude as he leaned closer. "Yes, it's me," he responded, his voice heavy with emotion. "You're safe now. You're home." Amidst the uncertainty, Jinwoo knew that their journey together had merely begun. As Mi-soo slowly awakened, the emotional turmoil they had faced solidified their bond, unveiling layers of growth and resilience that could not be ignored. The love they shared was now a palpable force capable of conquering the challenges ahead. As they navigated this new chapter, an unspoken promise threaded between them, an assurance that they would embrace every moment with the depth of understanding they had fought for together. And so in the wake of uncertainty and healing, Jinwoo clasped Mi-soo's hand firmly in his, ready to face whatever came next. Life, with all its complexities and trials, awaited them, and together they would forge ahead, hearts intertwined, ready to embrace a future filled with hope, love, and newfound strength. Sometimes, waking up is just the beginning. It was a serene afternoon when Mi-soo blinked against the sterile brightness of the hospital room, the familiar beeping of machines swirling around her, a reminder of how close she had come to losing everything. As the fog of her coma began to clear, she turned her head and found Jinwoo seated beside her, his eyes filled with a mixture of hope and trepidation that brought an unexpected warmth to her heart. The events that had led her here loomed in her memory like dark clouds, fleeing danger, uncertainty, and yet somewhere in that chaos, she had felt an unwavering connection to him. Days turned into weeks in his silent vigil. Jinwoo had transformed. The weight of her absence revealed a vulnerability in him that ran deeper than she could have imagined. She noticed the subtle changes in his appearance, a hint of stress coloring his features, the way his fingers fidgeted as he clutched her hand. "You scared me, Mi-soo," he whispered, and the tremor in his voice tugged at her heart. As she struggled to piece together her memories, the emotional tangle both terrified and exhilarated her. At that moment, the truth dawned upon her. She had become a great part of his world, and now their futures intertwined in ways they had yet to fully understand. The warmth between them grew as the hours blended into an unbroken rhythm of whispers and hesitant interactions. As she regained her strength, the two shared moments that illuminated the depths of their relationship. Lingering glances exchanged over meals brought into the room, conversations that danced between light-hearted banter and heavy confessions. Yet, as Jinwoo unraveled his feelings, the intricacies of love and fear unfurled before them, challenging both to embrace honesty. With each passing moment, the fear of having lost their chance to craft their own future loomed like a shadow. The day Mi-soo slowly rose from her bed, strengthening her resolve, Jinwoo took a deep breath, gathering every ounce of courage he had mustered during her absence. "I need to tell you something," he began, his gaze unyielding, piercing through her insecurities. "These past weeks have made me realize what I truly feel. You've challenged me to grow in ways I never thought possible. I love you, Mi-soo, truly and deeply." Her heart leaped at his words, every syllable wrapping around her, warming the remnants of her fraught dreams. Yet underneath the confession lay a vulnerability of its own. With tears welling in his eyes, Jinwoo continued, "I need to apologize for not being there when it mattered most. I let fear dictate my actions, and I almost lost you." The weight of his burden enveloped the room, creating an atmosphere rich with raw emotion, echoing the very essence of their journey. Tears slid down Mi-soo's cheeks as she absorbed his heartfelt admission, understanding his turmoil, feeling the weight of shared regrets. "We've both faced our demons over the last few months," she replied, her voice steady despite the tremor of vulnerability. "But falling apart helped us see what truly matters. I want to be with you." In that moment, as silence wrapped around them, Jinwoo reached into his pocket and withdrew a small velvet box, offering it to her with trembling hands. "Will you give me the chance to make this right? To be a family together, no matter how complicated our journey has been?" It was a heartfelt proposal, turning all their chaotic experiences into a singular affirmation of love and commitment, echoing the resilience that had brought him back to her. The chaos of the past faded away, leaving their love radiating like sunlight breaking through the clouds. Mi-soo's eyes widened with surprise, awe surging through her heart. Joy ignited hope. Her grin blossomed wide, illuminating the room. "Yes!" she exclaimed, a rush of emotions spilling forth, blanketing her fears beneath waves of excitement. "I want this life with you, Jinwoo." Jinwoo slid the ring onto her finger, whispers of a future whispered between them. The journey had tested their strength, yet here they stood, ready to face the world hand in hand, a new path forged from resilience, love, and unwavering commitment. As they embraced tightly, the room filled with warmth and a sense of peace they once thought lost. The past no longer held captive, but transformed into the foundation upon which they would build their lives. Together, they would navigate the uncertainties that lay ahead, hearts entwined in a dance of love, facing whatever challenges arose with the knowledge that they had both found something worth fighting for. Every love story faces its trials. It's how we rise that defines us. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue across Jinwoo and Misu's lives, the couple sat side by side, contemplating their future together. Freshly engaged, the reality of wedding planning mingled with the whirlwind of their professional responsibilities and expectations. Misu's heart fluttered with anticipation, yet a pang of uncertainty laced her excitement. Could they manage to weave together their lives while navigating the complexities of impending parenthood? Days turned into stressful weeks as wedding plans unfolded amidst frenetic schedules. Misu juggled her job at the company while designing intricate details of their ceremony, her focus split between countless details and the quickening cadence of her heart as she felt the life inside her grow. Meanwhile, Jinwoo found himself growing more introspective, the shadows of his past intersecting with their bright future. The specter of Seo-yeon lingered just beneath the surface, complicating his emotions and adding to the weight of his decisions. It was during one of those sleepless nights that he received a call. Jinwoo braced himself for confrontation and arranged a meeting with Seo-yeon, determined to settle the unresolved tensions that threatened to destabilize everything he had built with Misu. When they met in a quiet cafe, she greeted him with a mixture of warmth and uncertainty. "I've heard about your engagement," she began hesitantly, her voice trembling slightly. Jinwoo's heart raced, and the words of their past echoed in his mind. "I need to be clear, Seo-yeon. This is not about you. Misu and I have a future together, and I need to let go of our past." The unexpected weight of his declaration hung in the air, his sincerity shining like a beacon. An emotional silence enveloped them before her expression softened. "I never meant to come between you two," she admitted, her voice almost a whisper, revealing vulnerability he hadn't anticipated. As the two talked, Jinwoo felt the final strands of old feelings dissolve, leaving room for growth and acceptance that he hadn't realized he needed. With clarity coiling around him, he left the cafe with a renewed commitment to his relationship with Misu, ready to embrace the life that awaited them. Later that week, Jinwoo's grandmother held a celebratory dinner in honor of their engagement, an event filled with laughter and warmth, signaling newfound unity in their families. As Jinwoo watched Misu converse animatedly with his relatives, a sense of pride swelled within him. The way she easily connected revealed the resilience they shared. Moments like these reminded him why he chose her. She brought joy and vitality to his life, intertwining their futures with purpose. Under the soft glow of twinkling fairy lights, Jinwoo took Misu's hand. "I want to promise you that I'll always support you, no matter what comes our way." His sincerity echoed in the delicate night air, a pledge meant to withstand the challenges ahead. Misu gazed back at him, her eyes sparkling with emotion. "I know we have a complicated past, but together we can build something beautiful." Just as their commitments crystallized into reality, their lives continued to spiral with new challenges and responsibilities. The preparations for the wedding intensified, intertwining excitement with anxiety, each passing moment reinforcing the bond they cultivated. But deep down, they both understood that navigating parenthood while establishing a life together would test their resilience in ways they had yet to comprehend. In the evenings, they would often discuss their plans, dreams for the future spinning around them like the delicate threads of a tapestry. Yet alongside hope, unspoken fears lingered. What if they weren't ready? The vulnerability was a shared experience that stoked the flames of their devotion, growing stronger with each shared hope and daily triumph. Amidst the frenzy, Jin-woo looked at Misu one night while they prepared for bed, an unanswered question burning in his chest. "Do you think we have everything we need to make this work?" he probed gently, the weight of anticipation in his tone. Misu hesitated, but her moment of contemplation gave way to a smile, reassuring him. "I believe we do, Jin-woo. We have each other, and that's what matters most." With newfound determination enveloping them, they stepped forward, ready to embrace the trials of life, hand in hand. Their love, tested yet resilient, now paved the way for what lay ahead. As the wedding date approached, excitement swirled within their hearts, underscoring the limitless possibilities waiting beyond the horizon, intertwining every element of their lives into a rich tapestry of love, hope, and commitment. Together, they prepared not just for a wedding, but for a life abundant in joy and challenges, grounded in the promise that their journey was only just beginning. Every journey leads to a crossroads where love must blossom. As the sun illuminated the crisp morning air, Misu stood in front of the mirror, feeling a mix of excitement and anxiety. The wedding day had finally arrived, and with it came the whirlwind of emotions she had been navigating for weeks. Planning had consumed her, transforming mundane tasks into a chaotic flurry of details that spun around her like the petals of a blooming flower. With each ring of her phone or rustle of floral arrangements, she was reminded that today would mark the beginning of a cherished chapter alongside Jin-woo, the man who had captured her heart. The venue sparkled with pastel decorations, vibrant smells of blooming flowers carrying around them, yet beneath her joyous anticipation lay a hint of trepidation. Would she truly be able to weather the storms of marriage? What if they were unprepared for the challenges of blending their lives? Each moment lingered heavily, threading uncertainty through her thoughts. Jin-woo's unwavering support had reassured her, but as she felt the weight of the moment bear down, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was still so much to prove, both to herself and to each other. As family and friends began to gather, the atmosphere swelled with love and laughter, a stark contrast to the heady weight of her insecurities. Her gaze caught Jin-woo across the room, and the sight of him in his tailored suit struck a chord deep within her. He was transformed, a blend of confidence and warmth, a beacon that pulled her toward him. They had both braved the storms together, yet in that moment, tinged with anticipation, it struck her how far they had come as partners. Just as she took a deep breath to calm the whirlwind of emotions, Jin-woo approached her, an affectionate smile gracing his lips. "Are you ready? Because I sure am," he said lightly, taking her hand in his. "No matter what happens today, we're in this together." The sincerity of his words anchored her swirling thoughts and dropped a comforting weight into her chest. The two exchanged looks, their connection electrifying. As the ceremony commenced, they stood before their loved ones, the air absorbing the weight of their promises. Jin-woo went first, his voice steady yet vulnerable as he expressed the depth of his feelings. "Misu, you've shown me what it means to truly live, to love, and to hope. I promise to stand by you, to support your dreams, and to cherish the family we're about to create." His heartfelt vows ignited something within her that felt akin to hope, blossoming in spring. When it was Misu's turn, she felt the warmth of his gaze anchor her, sparking every shared moment and struggle they had faced together. "In you, I've found my best friend, and the love of my life," she declared, emotions surging in a powerful wave as tears shimmered in her eyes. "I vow to embrace all that life brings us, to share our dreams and face whatever challenges come our way, united." Their eyes locked, and the undeniable warmth radiating between them burned away the uncertainties of the past. Suddenly, an unexpected commotion broke out at the back of the venue. Jin-woo's grandmother, always the tower of support, had stood up, her voice clear and bold. Let's make a toast to these two fine souls. She raised her glass, laughter flowing freely as the mood lightened again, further solidifying the union that was unfolding before them. That celebratory cheer intertwined with love and excitement, creating the foundation for the life they would share. After the ceremony, laughter and music filled the air as the couple transitioned into the reception, enjoying the warmth of family and friends who surrounded them. As they shared toasts, shared dances, and stolen moments beneath shimmering lights, Misu realized this was more than a wedding. It symbolized not just her commitment to Jinwoo, but also the intertwining of their dreams and aspirations. It was the manifestation of their growth, their journey, and the promises they had made to one another. Even amidst the joy, whispers of doubt tried to creep into her mind, but she silenced them with the strength she felt in their shared happiness. She grasped Jinwoo's hand tightly, feeling grateful for the unity forged through love and resilience. "Whatever comes next, I know we will face it head-on, together," she affirmed, her resolve transforming into certainty. As the evening wound down, Misu and Jinwoo stepped outside onto a quiet patio away from the celebration, the stars above shimmering like a blanket of dreams. In that moment, tranquility enveloped them, a sense of peace solidifying the foundation upon which they would build their lives. "I couldn't have asked for more. Today was everything I hoped it would be," Misu confessed, leaning into Jinwoo, the warmth of his presence enveloping her. Jinwoo tilted her chin up, locking eyes filled with promise. "This is just the beginning, Misu. Our journey is yet to unfold, and I'm so excited to explore it with you." They shared a soft kiss, their hearts swelling with the recognition that while the future remained unwritten, it was filled with potential. A tapestry woven from love, commitment, and shared dreams. Hand in hand, they turned back toward the celebration, ready to welcome their bright future together, with hearts ignited by the unwavering love that would guide them through every season of life. Love is a journey of unexpected destinations. As the sun rose on a beautiful fall morning, Misu lay in a hospital bed, her heart racing with anticipation. After months of preparation and excitement, today was finally the day she would meet her daughter. Surrounding her were the remnants of their journey. A journey that began with an arranged partnership and blossomed into a passionate love story. Jinwoo, her devoted husband, was by her side, the nervous energy between them palpable. In the days leading up to the birth, Jinwoo had undergone a transformation. He embraced fatherhood with a tenderness he had never thought possible, dedicated to being not just a husband, but a supportive partner as they prepared for the monumental change ahead. Each interaction between them had become a reflection of their growth, the misunderstandings of the past, all washed away in the face of this new beginning. The anticipation was tinged with anxiety, as life had taught them to be wary of the unexpected. As the labor progressed, the pain twisted through Misu, but alongside it was a fierce determination. Jinwoo remained steadfast, holding her hand and whispering words of encouragement. "You're stronger than you think, Misu. I'm right here with you," he promised, his eyes unwavering. Each contraction felt like a testament to the love they had nurtured. Painful, yet beautiful. A process that hinted at the joys to come. The sense of urgency swelled around them, not only in the hospital room, but within their hearts. When the moment finally arrived, and a soft wail pierced the air, Misu's heart soared. Jinwoo's eyes widened with astonishment as the doctor handed their daughter, wrapped in a soft blanket, into her arms. Tears streamed down Misu's cheeks as she gazed into the tiny face that seemed to hold the promise of their future. "She's perfect," she whispered, the words tumbling from her lips like a blessing. Jinwoo leaned close, placing a gentle kiss on both Misu and their daughter's foreheads, feeling as if they had just discovered a treasure more valuable than he could have ever imagined. But as they navigated the joys of new parenthood, the couple faced the reality of unintended challenges. Sleepless nights filled with endless cries, moments of frustration, and the pressure of balancing their careers alongside their family life began to strain the bond they had recently forged. Jinwoo managed the delicate balance of working as a businessman while being a supportive father. Though invigorated by their growing love, he often found himself questioning if he was enough for his family. Unable to keep the emotions festering inside him, Jinwoo confronted Misu one evening as they rocked their baby to sleep. "I'm scared. What if I can't provide what you and our daughter need?" The vulnerability in his voice struck Misu deeply, revealing the cracks of uncertainty that had started to form beneath the surface. "You already do, Jinwoo. Just being here with us is what matters most," she assured him. But the worry still lingered in the back of her mind. Days turned into weeks, and as they adjusted to their new life together, the support of Jinwoo's grandmother proved invaluable. Her wisdom and experience as a matriarch helped guide them through the challenges of parenthood, highlighting the importance of family. "In times of struggle, remember you have each other," she said one quiet evening over dinner, the love surrounding their small family palpable. Embracing her words, the couple found strength in one another. Jinwoo gradually learned to express his affections more freely, understanding that communication was the keystone to their blossoming family. He would often surprise Misu with smiles, gentle touches, and simple gestures of love, fostering a deeper connection that spoke to the heart. As seasons changed, the love in their home grew stronger, and there stood a family united by shared values, trials, and victories. The joy of their daughter's laughter filled the space where fear had once nested, replaced by the warmth of family dinners, endless cuddles, and love weaved into the fabric of their lives. One evening, after putting their daughter to bed, Jinwoo turned to Misu, a newfound confidence weaving in his expression. "I realize now that love isn't just about grand gestures. It's in the little moments, the laughter we share, the sleepless nights, and even the challenges that bring us closer." Misu smiled, touched by his insights. Together, they had transformed their journey into a testament of resilience. As they sat beneath the soft glow of the evening stars, they envisioned a future filled with love, laughter, and unbreakable bonds, a future rich with the promise of endless potential. In that moment, Misu and Jinwoo understood that true love was not just about smooth sailing, but about weathering the storms, emerging stronger on the other side. With hope illuminating their hearts, they looked forward to the life yet to unfold, knowing that with each step, they would embrace new challenges and cherish unexpected joys together as one family. Do you think true love can overcome all barriers, just like it did for Misu and Jinwoo? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more exciting videos like this.